Hello, welcome back to Clueless But Trying. Today we will be looking at how to advocate for your child.
This is what I always dreamed about. I'm over being scared, let them talk and let them stare. Go tell them that my time is
Hey
now.
beauty, welcome back to Clueless But Trying, where we are rebelling, recovering and raising merry hell. If navigating the school system feels like you are wading your way through thick treacle whilst carrying a screaming goat, you're not alone. There are many of us out here who have been through that system, and frankly, it is not for the faint of heart. Advocating for your neurodivergent child can be exceedingly exhausting. It can be downright infuriating, and it oftentimes feels like you are banging your head against a brick wall. So when you're advocating for your child, what is going to make all the difference? And the answer is actually exceedingly simple. Your insight, your love, and the fact that you know your child best. No one, I repeat, no one knows your child like you do. I understand that our children are at school for a lot of hours, and teachers and school staff, of course, get to know our children, but they don't get to see them in their safe place, which is home. They will not see your children in meltdown, trying to get to school or after school. I quite often would recommend doing a hypothetical with teachers just to maybe get them to see exactly what it is they're asking of your children. For instance, as an adult, if you were given a chart as to how you were performing that day, would it make you feel really good to be at the top of the star chart? But how might it make you feel if your boss came in and said, "Oh, you're not sitting still enough, you're not making eye contact, and I don't think you're working hard enough, I'm going to demote you down the bottom"? How is that going to make you feel? And I think it's really important to put ourselves in the place of our children. I don't think that charts work in the way that people think or hope they're going to. Quite often they have the exact opposite effect. I may have just veered off already on the subject, but I just want you to realise that you know your child better than anybody else. Your instincts are your superpower, if you like. They are the essence of who we are as a person. You know, we get gut feelings for a reason, right? So trust yours. You're absolutely right, and you don't need permission to advocate for your child. In the UK, children have rights. Now, quite often these legal rights are forgotten about by schools, and be it on purpose or not, it does lead to a detrimental effect to our children. For instance, I wasn't told that I could get an EHCP for my son, had no idea what one was until it was too late almost to get one for him. So I make it a point to make sure that everybody knows about EHCPs, and I think more parents are learning about them now. They are your legal right, and they're not, a privilege to have an EHCP. It's a right. You are getting one for your children because they require those reasonable adjustments to be able to access an education. Always remember that you are not that annoying parent. What you are is a loving parent who is simply trying to get your child to access education. Please remember in your heart of hearts, when you are perhaps being gaslit by professionals that you're the reason that your child won't go into school, that actually perhaps they don't know enough about the situation, especially if it's neurodivergence or mental health. They're not professionals in that setting. Put your big girl pants on and go in there and claim the help that your child is entitled to enable them to have a fabulous education. Thinking about honouring your child's specific needs. We all like different things for different reasons. We all have preferences, things that make us feel safe, things that we enjoy doing. Everybody's different. Your child is obviously just the same, and you are allowed to speak up and express what they need in order to make them grow, feel safe, and enjoy school. lean into what makes them tick. What are they interested in? How can they be engaged at school? And I think this tends to be easier at primary school because they are much more still in the play phase. Once we get to secondary school, it does tend to be a little bit trickier. However, they can start the day by perhaps doodling, or just having some quiet time in the library. That's something I used to do. I used to go into school, put my stuff in the locker and go and sit in the library. Asking for accommodations like that shouldn't actually be a problem. When it comes to parent-teacher meetings, my stomach still goes in a knot today when I talk to people about them, because they did a lot of damage to my mental health. So how can we smash through these parent-teacher meetings? My top tip is always going to be bring the notes, bring the receipts, bring the emails, bring absolutely everything. And if you can, take somebody with you who perhaps, even if they don't want to talk, is just there on your team, and they could perhaps take some notes for you. Because in the moment, it can be very overwhelming to try and deal with not only the realities of your child struggling to be at school, but the emotional side of that. I had meetings where I just sat and cried. And then I also, towards the end, managed to get my stuff together, walk in there with my clipboard, literally, my folder of information, that what was happening, what was promised last time, what hadn't happened, how were they going to fix it, because I was making sure that I was doing my side of the bargain. Why weren't they doing their side? Remember that you're not there to be agreeable. You're there to make changes that are going to help your children get into school and hopefully help you have time to go to work or have a bit of time for yourself, because being a parent to a neurodivergent child can be very, very busy and tiring. You're going to have teachers that are hugely agreeable, and you're going to have teachers and professionals that, quite frankly, have a complete difference of opinion to you. It's really hard to find the line down the middle, and I would encourage you to, again, use metaphors to make that change, to help people understand what it is that they're actually asking. Make sure that you thank the teachers and the professionals for doing the cool stuff. When they do stuff, tell them it's awesome, it's helped, tell them how it's helped. You know, there's nothing wrong with being grateful. And I do always try and bear in mind that these teachers became teachers because that's what they want to do, they want to help. However, they have now been forced into a government-funded operation that isn't actually doing the teachers any good either. So if you can speak to that, I think it'll actually help them as well to see that you are just a human being and you get their side of it, but you also have to stick up for your children. Trying to work together with teachers is optimum. That's what we really, really want to happen. We want to be on the same team. Ultimately, that's what we're aiming for. It doesn't always happen, unfortunately. And so you have rights. Don't be afraid to use them. And I think the last point that I want to bring up is your mental health, because your mental health is just as important as your children's. In fact, I dare say it's more so, because if your mental health isn't good, you can't advocate for your children. As somebody who went through this myself, and my mental health deteriorated, the worse my mental health was, the worse I did in trying to get any help for my children. Please make sure that you are getting perhaps therapy for yourself, perhaps going to see the GP with any medication that might help you, that you're getting some time to talk to other people. I think it's important to talk to people in the same situation as you, so that you know that you're not going, doolally, because quite often it can feel really, really lonely to be fighting the school, and it feels like, David and Goliath, quite frankly. And try, I know it's easier said than done, but to make time for yourself to do some self-care. And I'm not talking spas and pedicures. For me, that's art. I've even started doing an art journal. I've done a written vision board in here. Done all about 2025, things that I'm excited for, being a bit hippie woo-woo. I've done just writing. This is a rather fantastic one. This is all about what I want to do with you guys, which is grow a movement of parents that are advocating for their children, and we're making changes for our future. So this is what I do for self-care, and I will sit down and do that of an evening watching something, or to be honest, I do it any given moment that I can find now that I'm home educating, just to have an outlet that is mine. I'm going to have a really cool book at the end of this when it's all filled up with all my art, everything that I'm doing. So however self-care looks for you, please find a way to incorporate it. I know it's really hard when you're in the thick of things. However you can reach towards your goals, no matter how small, I think it's vitally important to your mental health, because you are absolutely worth having that time and energy spent on you. Because the better you are, the more happy and joyous and fulfilled you are feeling, the better you're going to be able to go out there and kick butt in the system for your children. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do leave a like and subscribe to my channel. That would mean the world to me. I've been there and I'm on the other side of it now. I'll see you soon. Hey, let's get into I can't talk today.